testing this because I tried yesterday around the same time and couldn't go in. I think the issue was my network, and today we're having a bit of a windy weather, and the network sometimes struggles to hold up because of the windy weather. Um, so let's see how far we are able to go. If we can survive 3 minutes, then that means we are good to go. And also, um, I might find myself getting interrupted by a call at some point. I'm not expecting that to happen, but there is a possibility. So let's cross fingers and hope that it doesn't happen. All right. So, yeah, yesterday I couldn't even hold the line for or the live for more than a few seconds. So if I've been able to go for over 1 minute, then that means we are fine. So I've got my notes here. There we go. Okay, what's going on? Oh, all right. It was my orientation that was changing itself because I was moving my phone. Um, I thought it was. I'm so used to my life being cut, so I thought it was my life actually getting cut. So I've made a whole lot of notes. I know that this is a topic that, has been really hammered by a lot of people. And so I might find that I'm not having a lot of people interested in wanting to hear what anyone else would say about this particular topic. And also, yeah, I have to be honest, even some of the information that I'm going to share with you, I know it's not new, but I just felt compelled to just share this with you for whatever reason. Um, as someone that deals with people a lot, I find that one of the biggest issues that we are dealing with as humanity as a result of this narcissism crisis, of course, has to do with relationship problems, and about 90% of the people that I deal with are women, and 90% of the time, the issues that they are dealing with have to do with relationships with men. And, in South Africa here, you will hear people say things like, yo, mjolo, mjolo, mjolo tla o trapa. So that means, the dating scene is really, really hectic. And that's true. The dating scene is really, really diabolical right now, just like every other area of life, because we are really going through a great reckoning as a collective. We are going through that phase where we are being forced to reckon with the reality of the world that we are living in, the true nature of humanity. And it's so unfortunate because we are beginning to see, or we are being forced actually by life to see the terrible world that we are actually living in. And a lot of people in the spiritual field, particularly those that are in America, they will tell you that. Let me just quickly greet here Syed Ahmed. Hello and welcome. So, a lot of people will tell you that at least 70% of people living on this planet are non-player characters or soulless beings. And I definitely agree with that. I do agree with that take. I agree with um, that idea because this is something that I've also observed myself, that it's very hard to come by real human beings. It's very hard to come by human beings that are genuine, authentic, human beings that are not just running programs. You understand? Human beings that are not operating only at surface level, but human beings that have either done the work on themselves or are at least doing that work. It's very rare that you'll come across those. Majority of people that you come across are literally just surface level people. It's like you're just dealing with dolls, and because of that, uh, you can see that clearly there's something that is terribly wrong here. And so what I wanted to say with regards to that is that not only are we just dealing with soulless beings and non-player characters, but we are also dealing with narcissism, the proliferation of narcissism. That's what we are dealing with here. So and it's one of the things that is plaguing humanity where relationships are concerned. Every aspect of life, we are plagued by narcissists. We are plagued by their narcissism everywhere. If you're talking about a Karen, it's typically a narcissist. If you're talking about a corrupt politician, it's typically a narcissist. If you're talking about a toxic partner, it's typically a narcissist. And I know that it's very easy for people to say, oh, that word narcissism, narcissist is being overused, blah, blah, blah. But the reality is that it's actually, we are not dealing with this topic of narcissism enough. We are not giving it its due respect and its due attention. We are not doing that. And the thing is, with life, whether or not we want to pay attention to certain things, life will always force us to deal with the things that we need to deal with. And that's where we are right now as humanity. That's where we are. And so my part here today is just to share with us, about the dating scene. After I'm done with this live, I'm hoping that I'll be able to come back again because I want to talk about this homosexuality, gay, LGBTQ situation. I want to talk about that. But for now, let's talk about dating. Let's talk about the problems in dating. So I've got a list here of a few, actually, quite a whole lot of men. I think about, yeah, 30 types of men that women should avoid. All right. You want to avoid this type of men because um, when you see a man behaving and conducting himself in this particular way that I would have listed here, based on my own personal experiences and based on the people that I have dealt with, as well as the observations that I've made, I can tell you that this kind of men, usually when you try and have any kind of romantic relationship with them, it usually ends up disastrously. And so, you know for what it's worth, I'm just going to share this with you, because if I'm still dealing in 2025, I'm still seeing this situation play itself out in the dating scene, that means it should still a problem. You understand? And so for what it's worth, I'm going to share this with you, and hopefully, when you see this person, you'll be able to say, okay, fine, you know what, this is clearly someone that I should not be dealing with. Because many a times people doubt themselves. You find yourself dealing with this type of a person and you're thinking, okay. And the thing about problematic people is that they're not just outright problematic. It's like they'll be problematic on one end, but on another end, there'll be something good and valuable that they'll be bringing to you. And that creates a whole lot of distortion and cognitive dissonance within you, where you find yourself wondering, okay, is it me? Maybe is it my issues? Is it the fact that I still have hang-ups from my past? Is it the fact that I haven't healed from my childhood issues? You find yourself just doubting yourself, and yet the reality of the situation will just literally be staring you in the face, but you'll be doubting yourself because of there's something about the nature of the situation that will be creating that bit of a, I guess, light, if you should put it that way. So I'm going to be sharing this with you so that I'm saying, yeah, if this is what you are encountering, if this is what you are dealing with, then yeah, it's probably a no-no. And just before I do that, I also want to say to you that, of course, this is for the real human beings. You understand? So this is for you if you are a real, authentic human being. The minority, in this world, because majority are really, other creatures, non-player characters and soulless beings. So this is for you, the minority, the genuine person that, and majority of the time, you're the one that's finding yourself dealing with this situation, and you're the one that's finding yourself concerned about this kind of situations. Whereas other people, they could be dealing with this, and I'm not talking to those people. That's my point, because they could be dealing with the very same situation, and their approach to it would be completely different. You understand? It's either they don't see the problem in that, or they don't see the problematic nature of the situation itself, or somehow they are able to cope and deal with it. Somehow it seems to align with the nature of who they are and all of that. So I'm not talking to them, because the people of this world, if I have to put it this way, the people of this world, there's something about the messed up nature of this world that seems to be working for them. You understand? So, whereas for those of us that are from a different paradigm, that hail from a different um, reality, if we should put it that way, which is really the real reality, because the minority are the real human beings, whereas the majority are, backup fillers, if we should put it that way, but very problematic backup fillers, of course. So this is for you, the minority. So let's see here. What is it? The first one is the narcissist, because I had to make the narcissist the first one, because you know every single person that I'm of the men that I'm going to be listing here is literally um, either a narcissist, or there's some high level of narcissism, but there's some kind of narcissism involved. You understand? Or even if they're not a narcissist, but the narcissist feels ticks all the boxes. All of the 30 boxes here that I will be listing today, the narcissist ticks all of them. You understand? The narcissist is all of these things. So I had to make the narcissist the first one. So if you are dealing with a narcissist, then definitely don't even bother yourself. Do not bother yourself. And how do you know that you're dealing with the narcissist? Of course, in the beginning of the relationship, the person will love bomb you, the person will emulate you, the person will want to rush into things very quickly. And of course, there'll be a whole lot of red flags in the whole situation, but you're going to overlook them, and very quickly the person will start making disparaging remarks towards you. They'll start conducting themselves in a toxic or an abusive way towards you, while simultaneously here and there doing one or two things that still indicate that this person has potential for being a good partner. You understand? But the reality of the situation is that, of course, this is a narcissist, so there's nothing that can be built, there's nothing that can be done with a narcissist. All right. So now, when you find yourself dealing with this kind of a person, you definitely want to walk away from the whole thing. You want to scrap the whole thing, and it's very difficult for a lot of people, I know, to scrap. And the thing about the narcissistic relationship is that there's just something about it that is just so magnetic, that pulls your energy and pulls you in. And there's a way that the narcissist sets the relationship up so that once you are in, getting out is becomes one of the most difficult things ever. And one of the things that I've picked up is that there's some kind of a compromise that they bring you into when you enter into a relationship with them, that when you have to that compromise becomes something that makes you want to hold on. It's almost as if there's some kind of a spiritual investment that you make into a relationship with a narcissist, so that if you have to leave the relationship, it's almost as if that loss feels so significant that it feels like you are losing something massive if you walk away from that. So that's what happens there. But the reality is that it doesn't matter what you stand to lose. Majority of the time, in fact, 100% of the time, when you realize that you are with the narcissist, you want to walk away. Why do you want to walk away from a relationship with a narcissist? Because the narcissist is here to steal, kill, and destroy. The narcissist is an agent of the opposing forces of life upon your life. Excuse me, just drinking some water there. The narcissist is an agent of the dark forces of life against you. So as long as you are a real human being, the narcissist is going to destroy you if you give him the chance. You understand? And whereas if the narcissist is dealing with other types of people that are very similar to him, somehow they'll do things to each other. They'll find ways to work out whatever it is that they are doing there, and it's like it's nothing that you would want to even be bothered with. But for you as a real human being, definitely the intention and the aim is always your destruction. Therefore, you do not want to find yourself engaging with a narcissist in a relationship context. You're not going to build anything. You understand? You're not going to. You will accumulate years if you stay. If you stick around in that relationship, you'll accumulate years of being with this person. But you will also accumulate a whole lot of horrors, a whole lot of traumas. The narcissist will break you down. The narcissist will shame and humiliate you. The narcissist will drag you through the mud. All right. Dear Nazi, the Nazi, hello and welcome. Thank you for subscribing to me, said Ahmed. So you will, be able to tell people, oh no, I've been with this person for 20 years, for 50. And usually, actually, yeah, a lot of people don't even live long enough to reach that 20 years. You understand? Because the narcissist will eat you alive. This is why I'm saying this phase that we are going through as humanity right now is the phase of the great reckoning, where we are being forced to see what is it that is destroying us. You understand? And so we also need to look at the spiritual nature and the spiritual root cause of everything that is happening on the surface level. Many a times when we are venturing into the space of relationships and dating, we are looking at this thing as, oh no, I'm just in a relationship. Oh no, he's just toxic. Oh no, that's not where it ends. There's a spiritual root cause. There's a spiritual reason. There are always a whole lot of spiritual things that are happening behind the scenes. Here in this world, there are invisible forces that are always at work. In the same way that when you look at it from a scientific level, you've got microscopic, particles and creatures and things. I forgot what they call them. And some of them, they are good. They are helping you. They are building you in your body. Some of them are destroying you. Those are representatives of spiritual forces that are at work in this world. And those spiritual forces, some of them are fighting to help build you up, to protect you. Some of them are fighting to destroy you. That's the situation that we are dealing with when it comes to this particular paradigm. That's the reality. All right. So even when you are in the dating scene, when you are in the dating space, that's precisely what you are dealing with. And you want to approach it from that perspective. So you want to understand that some people are definitely, and there's a lot of them. Remember, as a real human being, you are a minority. So that means for every one of you, there's at least about 10, 20, 30 demonic people that are being sent towards you whenever it is that you put yourself out into the dating market, into the dating scene, into the dating space. These people are sent to you, and they are sent to destroy you. You understand? They are there to say, how can we devour this person? When you are talking about the great zombie apocalypse and the great what do you call this, post-apocalyptic era and all of this is where we are now. We are in that era where majority of human beings are not really human beings. Majority of human beings that are operating in this paradigm are just creatures of darkness who have been able to masquerade as normal human beings because of the low vibrational frequency of this plane that we are existing in, the density of this plane. You understand? And when you look into those stories about Tateria and all of those things, if they will tell you the bells have been removed. Everything that is supposed to keep this realm in a high vibrational frequency has been broken down. The music, everything. Why? It's because so that our perception can be so distorted that we do not see demons standing in front of us. You understand? The whole aim is so that we do not see the demons as they stand. So when they are standing in front of you, you just see a human being. but you are not aware that behind the human being, there's actually some kind of a creature that if you were able to see it for what it really is, you would literally run for your life. You understand? So this is something that you want to be aware of, to say, you know, these things are here to devour you. So if you are finding yourself dealing with an outright narcissist, you must know that's a creature there. You understand? Some kind of a zombie, some kind of a vampire, some kind of, I don't know if I should call it extraterrestrial or whatever. But whatever it is, it's not human. The only thing that is human about it is the physical, organic, biological, whatever aspects. But its purpose, its aim, is not to do love, it's not to build, it's not to do anything. The aim is to steal, kill, and destroy. It's to devour you, it's to eat away at your soul. So, this is another war that we are dealing with, among, over and above all the other wars that we are dealing with as humanity. This is that one of those wars where we are dealing with invisible things that are attacking us behind the scenes. You're not going to be able to show it, you're not going to be able to prove it, to say, oh, so and so died because of, she was devoured by the men that she was in a relationship with. And let's face it, even men themselves, because narcissists come both in both genders, isn't it? So it just so happens that today, of course, we are focusing on the men to avoid, because as I said, majority of the people that I deal with are women. But I'm not oblivious to the fact that we have a whole lot of women that are just as horrible as well. A whole lot of women that are creatures themselves, creatures of the night, creatures of the darkness, things that you want to be running away from. You're not going to be able to prove that this is what killed this person. And yet, that's what it is, because they'll be eating you alive. They'll be eating a part of you that is invisible, that no one can see. They're eating your soul, they're eating your essence. And then you are disintegrating, you are falling apart, all the way until there's nothing left of you. And then the viruses, the cancers, and all of those things, they start doing their work. And then you are done. You understand? So that's why as soon as you realize this is a narcissist, you run for your life. Number two, you want to avoid the emotionally avoidant man. So this is a man who's not available, you know, he, because, and the reason why I'm putting this out like this is because, once again, for in my perspective, all these people are pretty much narcissists. You understand? They're pretty much narcissists, and they just disguising themselves as, just some, it's almost as if, okay, fine, if I show up in this particular way, she's probably going to know that I'm a narcissist and I'm an a-hole, and she's going to push me away. So let me just rather present myself in a slightly different way that will confuse her, and will, she's not going to be sure whether I'm a narcissist or not, and that might allow me to keep sucking her energy for as long as possible. So yeah, let me play the avoidant card. The avoidant is often mysterious, isn't it? That's what's alluring about the avoidant. And let's face it, women that are real human beings, we've been through a lot in this world, and because of that, there's an aspect to real human beings, real human women, that can be a little bit masculine because of the empathy. So you sort of like, um, there's something about you that where you are not afraid to go and search. You are curious. You might want to seek. You might want to even pursue a little bit. Unconsciously so. The avoidant man is a trap for the woman that typically finds themselves where they are pursuing a man. You understand? Instead of the other way around. So the emotionally avoidant men puts you in that position where they keep themselves in some kind of a bubble, and they throw hints, little hints here and there, that come across as if they're available, or that comes across as if they are flirting, or that comes across as if they're interested in you in some shape or form. But you find that with every 10% effort that they put in, you end up having to put about 90%, for the whole thing to come together. And so, but they are never really there. You understand? They're never really available. They might be trying to get, it's like the emotionally avoidant men is the typical, you are here, but yet you are so far away. You are so close, yet you are so far away. There's that sense about them, and once again, you'll experience this with a narcissist as well. They are here, but it feels like they are not here. They want to be with you, but it seems like they are afraid of commitment. They want a relationship, but somehow they are just hardly available. There's just something that is just offish about the emotionally unavailable men. But whatever it is, you will know it, you will feel it, and it's not going to sit right with you. This is one of the reasons why I say to people that majority of the time, the way, because it's almost as if this narcissistic force in this world is operating almost like AI, keeps evolving itself based on how much people are figuring it out. And, it keeps trying to make itself a little bit more complicated just so that it can be able to treat more people. Because remember, this whole thing that it's doing, this predatory approach of these demonic human beings, is all about survival. They have to feed on your essence to survive. So they keep, transforming themselves into something else. And the emotionally avoidant men, it's typically one of those things, one of those tricks that the narcissistic force plays on you. And so what I'm saying here is that majority of the time, you are not going to know whether or not you are dealing with a narcissist. That's the reality. Majority of the time, unless you really, really know. But there'll be times when you are not even going to be able, maybe it's too soon, maybe you still need to collect more data or whatever. And so my point here is, don't just go by whether or not this person is a narcissist. And don't go by whether or not this person is toxic or not. Don't even go by whether or not what they are doing is right or wrong, but rather go by, how am I feeling in this situation? What is this situation triggering in me? What is it invoking in me? You understand? Is this situation, lowering my vibrational frequency? Is this situation triggering me back to regress to, my old patterns, or the old pain that I previously used to experience? And majority of the time, the answer is yes, it does. But what happens to a lot of women when they find themselves going through this? You find yourself saying, oh, it's not him, it's me, it's my issues. I have unhealed issues, and that's why I'm feeling this way. No. If a man is safe enough for you, they're not going to be triggering you in a way whereby you are left vulnerable to your old vices. You are left vulnerable to the old things that used to plague you previously, the traumas of the past. It's like the old demons have now resurfaced and they are now starting to gnaw away at you. All of a sudden, these demons are now big. They have found access to you. You were fine before this person came along. Now that this person has come along, all of a sudden, now those demons are bothering you again. These demons are now, eating away at you and making your life very miserable. And so now, instead of looking at the situation and seeing it for what it is, to say, why is it that when I bring this person into my life, all of a sudden now all those demons are resurfacing? You find yourself blaming and gaslighting yourself to say, oh no, those are my issues. My issues are coming up again, and it's my fault that this relationship is not working out because, yeah, it's my past. I need to deal with my past. I need to heal. And of course, the man is always happy to say, yeah, it's you. You have issues. You must go heal. You understand? Don't do that. If you find yourself around a person and somehow you are being regressed to your former self, the part of you that you know that you have worked very hard either to heal from, or you have moved past that in some shape or form. I promise you, a safe man is not going to put you in that position. A healthy man, a real human being, is not going to put you in that position. They will make you feel safe. You understand? They will see you. They'll hold the space for you. They'll create containment for you, enfoldment for you. All right. They'll create that stable, firm, standing place for you by their energy, their nature, their presence, their conduct. The reason why you are being triggered and regressing and all of those things, it's not because you have issues that are unhealed. Even if you might have issues that are unhealed, I promise you, unless you yourself are some toxic, narcissistic person and all of those things and everything, yes, you might find yourself doing those things. But if you're just a normal human being, if you find yourself regressing, it's because of the person that you are with, if you're a woman. Because, yeah, we can always also get into the conversation of what it means to be a leader as a man. Okay, but I've done a video on that during the week. It's here on my live list, in the list of my lives, it's there. So as a woman, if you find yourself, being vulnerable in a very toxic way, you must know. And that's your cue that this is not a safe relationship for you. Because the right kind of relationship that you want to be in is one where you are able to shine, where you blossom. You understand? Where your strength is exuding, or is at least being unleashed out of you. You understand? That's the safe relationship. You're not going to feel that way with an emotionally avoidant man, because they're going to avoid being intimate with you emotionally. They're going to avoid connect. They will always give you that illusion that it's possible, it could be, it can happen, but it will never happen. You understand? So you'll always be chasing, you'll always be almost there, but the goalpost will always be shifting. All right, so now let's look at the third one, the unhealed man. This is the man who is typically still having some issues. And I know I just spoke about the unhealed woman now, to say even if you are not healed and all of that and everything. But there are two types of unhealed people here. So there's this unhealed person, typically a real human being. They will know that they are unhealed about certain things. And usually, a real human being, when they know that they are unhealed about something, what they will do is they'll say, I'm not going to jump into a relationship because I'm still dealing with whatever it is that I'm dealing with. So I'm not going to try and be in another relationship. I'm going to work through whatever it is that I need to work through. And then when I'm ready, I'll go into a relationship again. You understand? And then themselves somehow with someone who maybe wants to be in a relationship with them. Let's say, for example, you're a woman and you've been dealing with issues, but then somehow a man comes and it's like, no, I want to be with you, blah, 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 blah. As a real human being, what you will do is you'll find yourself saying, you know what, I do have one or two things that I'm still, working on. And so I'm not sure if I'm actually going to do this. And then if you find yourself wanting to go ahead with that relationship, you might even say to this person, so yeah, I'm gonna need us to be gentle around this particular topic or this particular issue, because there's a bit of a soft spot, there's a bit of a tender spot there. You understand? That's typically how real people deal with issues. You understand? And even with a man, they themselves can say, you know what, I've worked through this thing, but yeah, it's been a massive, massive trauma in my life. And even if I've worked through it, I know that there's one or two things that I might still be working through. But I do feel like I'm ready for a relationship and I really want to do this thing. So, but yeah, if we can maybe just, tread with caution around this particular thing here. And then you're not even doing that to control or to manipulate, but you are genuinely doing that so that you and your partner can work together nicely around that particular topic. You understand? To say, okay, because it's a tender spot. So that means you need your partner to hold space for you around that particular spot, not to enable your toxicity around it or anything like that, but rather to help you work through it for whatever whenever it is that maybe it shows up in certain situations, and then you find yourself feeling quite vulnerable, then instead of your partner throwing you to the wolves or throwing you under the bus, they know exactly how to deal with it because they understand. So that's typically what would be happening there. But so this is one type of a healed person, right? The real human being. That's how they approach situations when they know that they are not yet healed. You understand? This is how they approach. But then there's the toxic person who's unhealed, and we'll say quote unquote unhealed, because this person is not really unhealed. You understand? This person really, they are toxic themselves, and they are using this thing of unhealed, or the theme of being unhealed is one of the things that is just popping up and highlighting the true nature of this person. Because it's either he has some issues with his mother that he hasn't healed from, quote unquote, hasn't healed from, and he is very, very angry about them. You understand? Or he has issues about his ex. But it's usually women in his life. It could be other people, but it's usually women in his life, um, from his past or his background, that he's very, very angry at, because somewhere, somehow, something hasn't gone right. And usually when you go deeper, in the beginning it looks like the other people are at fault, but as you get to know this person, you realize that they are the ones that are actually at fault in that situation. But what this person would be doing is, let's look at the part where they are having a hang up about their ex. Okay, so this person is not over their ex. They cannot stop talking about the ex, about how that, they used to do this and this so well, or they used to, I don't know, they used to, it's either they were so horrible or they were so amazing. But either way, the person doesn't stop talking about the ex. You understand? The ex always manages to show up. Even in the most unlikeliest of places, the ex will always show up in conversation. You understand? And so now you are having to put up with all of that. It's like, whoa, all of a sudden you know so much about the ex, and yet you don't even know this person. How did it get to that point? You might find that even on this social media, the ex is still there. you know Sometimes you'll hear, and I'm laughing, but it's not funny. Sometimes you'll even hear stories about those situations where, and they happen. I've seen it, I've experienced it myself, where the person will refuse to add you as his Facebook friend, but they'll have their ex as their Facebook friend. You understand? So these things do happen. And as long as there's some kind of a hang up with the ex, and then of course, even with the mother, usually it's pretty much similar to what would be happening with the ex. It's always my mom this, my mother that. I hate my mother so much, and oh, that's a recipe for disaster in a relationship. If a man starts having, talking like that about their mother, you know, if a man starts talking nasty about their mother and their ex, it doesn't matter what has happened, even if the mother is nasty. But there's a decorum that we all ought to have when it comes to approaching this kind of situations. And when the person lacks that, that's a huge red flag. You understand? Calling their ex, oh, that witch, that's a recipe for disaster. You understand? So those are the things that we definitely want to take note of. That as long as the man is unhealed, as long as there's still some issues that this person seems to be going through as a result of something that has happened in their past, and they haven't moved past those issues, you don't want to be with this person. You do not want. This person doesn't even look like they're doing anything to really work on those, or they, even if they say no, I'm working on it, but you can see that whatever it is that they call working on it or healing themselves, whatever it is that they call it, it's really nothing to do with it. This person is really not healing. This person is really not working on themselves. This person is not really doing anything to move past that situation. In fact, this person enjoys, they seem to be enjoying this thing because they seem to be so stuck in it that they are unable to recognize anything else outside. It's like they can't even recognize the fact that they have moved away from that situation, and they are in a new situation now with you. So you don't want to be with that person. You do not want to be with that person, because pretty much that is going to be the bulk of your relationship. their toxic relationship with this person who's either no longer in their life, or this person who is not here with you. They are somewhere else, but for some funny reason, this person, keeps playing some kind of a role in the relationship, and it's just deteriorating things instead of building. All right. So a man that is unhealed, stay away from them. Okay, stay away from them. Also, another thing about the unhealed man. Let's say this man has been cheated on by the ex. All right, let's just quickly greet people here. Haley, hello Haley, hello Lungile, and welcome. So another thing about the man that is unhealed is that, as I was saying, an example: this person has been cheated on by their ex. So if the person has been cheated on by their ex, what often happens is that because this person hasn't healed from that, now all of a sudden they are treating you as if you are the real cheater. They are treating you as if they might even treat you like you have already cheated on them. They might start be controlling. They might start, some people will, secretly put tracking devices on your phones and your cars and your things, put some cameras on things, that kind of a thing. That person now operating from a space of paranoia. Now you are paying for the sins of someone else, someone you know nothing about. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why you definitely do not want to deal with an unhealed man. And yeah, there are some things that people are unhealed from, apart from this few that I've just mentioned here. Things that people are unhealed from, that such kind of people have no business even being in a relationship, because of the things that they have dealt with, that they have not healed from. Because by virtue of them having had not healed from those things, automatically it makes them such bad, such terrible things that it's a bad idea for anyone to even consider having a relationship with them. All right. So yeah, I would definitely avoid the unhealed man. Number 4, the men with potential only, the men who only has potential. Okay, so this person has nothing to offer, really. Like, they have nothing to offer. And yeah, this is not to bash men. I hope you understand. And also, this is not to bash men that may not necessarily have anything. Let's say, for example, this person doesn't have a job, doesn't have anything. So a man who has nothing to offer, usually it's financially, you understand, it's things of material value. If a man has nothing to offer in that regard, usually this type of a man is also another one that should not really be in a relationship. When a man has nothing to offer, they have no business being in a relationship. They need to dedicate their time and focus and energy on building themselves up, and turning that potential into something that is legitimate, something that is solid, something that is tangible. You understand? Something that is stable for themselves. They definitely need to do that. If a man has nothing to offer in a relationship, what he will do, whereas you are investing in his potential, and usually when you're investing in his potential, you are also financially investing in him, with the hope that he's going to become something amazing and you will get your return on investment. But that's not how it works, because men typically, how they operate and how they think, they know and understand very well that it's intrinsic within all of us. When it comes to our roles, as much as, yes, we can say, oh no, we are living in the modern world, we are civilized, we are westernized, 50-50, we are all equal and everything. Yes, we are all equal and everything, from a spiritual perspective. But there'll always be roles that we have been designed to play, or that we have been designed to fulfill. You understand? So there's a role as the divine feminine that you have been designed to play, and there's a role as the divine masculine that you have been designed to play. And innately, inherently within all of us, we are aware of those roles. It's not something that anyone needs to teach you. In fact, people need to teach you the other stuff, the other roles. They need to teach you to not align yourself to those roles. As a feminine, you are the passive energy. And passive doesn't mean, you are standing still or whatever, but it's the energy that says in a relationship, you are the one that is receiving what the divine masculine is bringing to you. In a relationship, the divine masculine is bringing energy to you, bringing things to you, and then you are blooming and blossoming because of that. The divine masculine is watering into you. All right. So that's how it is. So naturally, inherently, all wired that way, but unless somehow something has gone somehow. But naturally, that's how the energy works. There's a positive polarity, there's a negative polarity. Yeah, that's just how energy flows. So, and we are energy beings like that. So, as a man, the man knows that he's the one that's supposed to be bringing something to the table. He knows that he's supposed to be providing, he's supposed to be taking care of the divine feminine. He's supposed to be the one that is, financially stable to the most part, or at least, he is supposed to have something that he's bringing. You understand? And so when that's not the case, he's not going to be feeling good. He's not going to be feeling good about himself, and neither is he going to be feeling good about you or the relationship. So, and once again, a normal, real human being will typically not, unless if, I don't know, for whatever reason, because, normal, real human beings still do funny things, let's face it. But under normal circumstances, a normal, real human being will not want to be in a relationship of a man, that is. They will not want to be in a relationship when they're in that position, when they know they have nothing to offer. You understand? You know, for example, if you're in a relationship, especially in the beginning, you have to go on dates, you have to have a plan. And whatever it is that has to be done in this world, majority of the time, costs money. You can't simply look at yourself and look at your situation and automatically know that, oh my gosh, okay, I have this for myself. So why on this is where I am right now. I'm not in here amazing and everything, but my situation doesn't allow me right now. I'm not in the best of positions to do that. That's typically what a real human being would do. You understand? To say, I have nothing to offer you, so I can't be with you. I will never do that to myself. I've seen a lot of men who have actually approached situations that way. You understand? If there's a woman somewhere, somehow, who's trying to say, ah, no, I don't need all of those things. I don't need material things and all of that. And the guy will say, I get you. I get that you don't need materials and everything. But I understand my role. I understand my position as a man. I need to be okay financially. I need to be standing on my own 2 feet. And because I'm not standing on my 2 feet, I cannot do that to myself and I cannot do that to you. I know I will not show up in my best or at my best in the relationship. Therefore, I'm not going to do it. But not so the case, the other people here, the toxic people out here in the world. No, the toxic people of the world, they'll definitely say, no, I know I've got nothing to offer. In fact, the mere fact that I've got nothing to offer is a very good reason for me to go into the dating scene and start looking for well-off women who have something to offer financially, women who are stable, women who are earning good income, and they might even have connections for me and a whole lot of things like that. Okay. And then I'm going to be the gold digger in this situation. You understand? And then, you're looking at this person and it's, they're smiling, they're making themselves looking all good. And it's like, what's the situation here? I've got nothing to offer except potential, and they're not even ashamed of that. They're not ashamed of themselves. They're not ashamed of the whole situation. But the reality is that deep inside, they know very well that the mere fact that they're having to ask you for money, they're having to rely on you for resources because you are so desperate to be in a relationship that you are willing to take care of a man. The mere fact that they're putting you in that position they resent you for it. They will put you in that situation knowing that they should not have any business putting you in that situation. Instead of going and looking for opportunities, work, or whatever, they look for women who will take care of them. But instead of even appreciating those women, they resent them because there's a spiritual crime that is being committed in that situation. The man who makes the woman to take care of him is committing a spiritual crime. Unless this is your wife or your, yeah, it typically has to be your wife or someone that you've been in a relationship with for a long time. And I don't know why wouldn't you have married them, but this would typically be your wife and, you've been together for a long time and, you've been taking care of them for so long. And then somehow you experience some kind of a catastrophe and then, you are no longer able to work or you're not working or then it's understandable. But outside of that situation, a man has no business expecting a woman to be taking care of them. And even in that situation, typically that man would be wanting to do something to get themselves back on their feet because those type of men usually do not prefer to be taken care of by a woman. Usually the men that want to be taken care of by women usually are the ones that you'll always find them not really working. And if they're working some kind of piece jobs type of a job that is not really very stable. It's almost as if somewhere, somehow, psychologically or unconsciously, they always create situations and scenarios and circumstances around their lives whereby they never have enough to offer to the next person because they want to be the ones on the receiving end of things. All they offer you is potential of what they could be, you know what could happen. They always look like they could be something, you know they could look, oh, he would look really good if he was, a very successful businessman, and they might even sell you the image of that successful businessman. They might even tell you about their dreams with regards to business, and you might find yourself carried away and even investing in their potential businesses. You understand? But they will sell you the image of, this is how wonderful I will look, and we would look so great as a couple, as a power couple, if I'm this business person. But that's all there is to it. This person has no means, no ability, no capacity, no intention, no will, nothing to be able to carry such things out. Because this person usually, majority of the time, the person with potential, that's all it is. It's potential. It never materializes. There are those rare cases when the potential does indeed materialize. And usually it's when you're dealing with the younger men who are still young and they're still going through their studies or whatever that's going on there. There, the potential story sort of like can make sense. But even then, still, I would say you don't want to be messing with someone who is still, if you are financially settled, and especially if you are older than that person, you don't want to be messing with someone who's still, busy on their way trying to get somewhere, as a woman. You want to find someone that can create that stability for you. You don't want to be the woman that creates stability for a man. You understand? You don't want to be the one that creates enfoldment and containment for a man. You want the man that is able to create that for you. Because as long as you are in that position where you are the one that is creating that, you are committing a spiritual crime. You and that person are committing a spiritual crime. That relationship will not work out well. You will resent each other and you will wonder, why are we resenting each other? It's because of that. So don't get into a relationship with potential. Get into a relationship with what is in front of you right here, right now. Whatever it is that is potential, let it be the potential that is building upon what already exists. The man with potential, the man who has nothing to offer, will resent you for whatever it is that you are offering him and whatever it is that he cannot offer you. And so if you build a man up and then somehow by some kind of a miracle, he ends up actually, fulfilling that potential in some shape or form, you're not going to get the kind of gratitude that you are expecting to get. Rarely does that happen. Usually when that man meets that particular potential, he moves on to someone else. Because a man does not want to be with a woman that has, you have sort of like taken the place of his mother. So energetically, you become less attractive to him in that regard, because the energy that you're exuding is no longer the energy of the lover, but it's the energy of the mother. So he's going to leave you and find someone that is going to, that he is going to be able to create that containment for, because your relationship with him has already been set up in such a way whereby you are the one that creates containment for him instead of the other way around. And so because he's going to struggle to recover, because once that dynamic has been set, it's been said, it's very, very difficult to change many of these dynamics once they are set up in relationships. So this is why he ends up leaving and going to, if he doesn't leave, he will cheat with another woman that he feels that he's able to create containment for that woman. You understand? And once again, that works out disastrously for you. So definitely stay away from men with potential. Be with a man that, yeah, that is exactly where you are, or at least slightly above there. And if somehow maybe the man earns a little bit less than you, but that man has to be, emotionally mature enough to be able to, with whatever little bit that he has, to, supplement it or to complement it with something else with regards to whatever it is that he's bringing to the table. And it can come across as if it's like, oh yeah, what do you have to offer? What do you bring to the table? Kind of a situation. But that's not really what it is. So, but I trust that I'm talking to mature adults here who understand, what I'm really referring to here. So, and then also, as long as the man is confident enough that, whatever it is, the combination of whatever little bit of provision that he's bringing to the table, and whatever other things, whatever, skills, resources, or whatever it is that he might be bringing to the relationship, if, he's confident enough in himself as a person, and he's happy with whatever life mission he's fulfilling, then that usually works out wonderfully. But if a man is still insecure, and the thing is, the man that has not accomplished anything, or that is not aligned with his divine purpose, is not doing whatever it is that he's passionate about, he's not happy with his career, that man is not going to be happy in the relationship. And that man is not going to prioritize you, it's not going to value you. That man is going to be a very disgruntled human being, and you don't want to be in a relationship with a disgruntled human being. All right, so that's the man with potential. um and usually it's you that sees the potential. Majority of the time he doesn't even see it himself. So let's move to number 5, the married man, or the man in a relationship, committed relationship, or whatever it is that you want to call it. And then the story that they usually bring is some soapy story about the fact that, oh no, I'm going through a divorce, you know I'm going through a divorce, or oh no, it's complicated, or oh no, we are separated. Yeah, yeah, this is one of the most dangerous situations that you will find yourself dealing with. People have been hurt by women who find out that you are messing around with their partner. People have been hurt, and so I do not recommend that. For this is one of the reasons why I do not recommend this. But the thing about a married man is, it doesn't matter what story it is that they are bringing to you. The fact remains, this person is still committed to someone else, technically. As long as they're not telling you that I am single and free and available, then you have no business, doing anything with this person. You understand? Even if you yourself can say, no, no, I'm not looking for a relationship. I'm still, exploring, playing around. I'm not looking for anything serious. Whatever it is that you're looking for, don't look for it in a married man. I know that majority of the time, married men can come across as more stable, more reliable, than the single men. But I promise you, you are still going to deal with a whole lot of troubles when it comes to a married man. Firstly, from a spiritual perspective, there are always karmic consequences for dealing with a man that is already committed to another woman. You are exposing yourself, you are making yourself vulnerable to your own spiritual enemies. We all have opposing forces of our lives that want to destroy us.
So when you are dealing with a married person, that situation exposes you to those situations. And if it so happens that that woman that this man is with somewhere somehow decides to do some spiritual practices to say any person that messes with my man, whatever, 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 or you are still vulnerable to such kind of things as well. And I know it sounds really bad because I mean the men should be punished, but let's face it, for whatever reason, these women hardly punish their men. Instead, they punish the women that their men mess around with. And sometimes they don't have to even meet you or anything like they will just punish you spiritually. So if you find yourself in a relationship with a married man and you didn't know, that's one thing because at least you that's your protection because you didn't know. The person lied, they hid their partner very well. But if you know that this person, is married and they outright let you know that they are married, stay away from that person because that brings just bad luck into your life. And I know there's a whole lot of people that have done this and they've gotten away with it. But remember, we don't know what we don't know. I told you that here in this world, there are different kinds of people. There are some people that these things, when you are a real human being, you are the child of the true creator, you are being held, for or at or under different standards than other people. And we'll call them the people of this world. The people of this world can do whatever it is that they want. And sometimes they get consequences for what they're doing. Sometimes they don't. It's like we don't know, but they operate under a completely different paradigm than we do. There's a lot of things that we don't get away with that it can come across as if the other people are getting away with them. We don't really know that are they really getting away with them or not. But maybe sometimes some of these things at surface level it can come across as if no, they've been doing it, she's been a side chick to that man, that married man for like 10 years and nothing bad has happened to her. Look at her, she's living the life. He even bought her a car. These things happen. People was, oh, he even bought her a car, and they do buy them cars. Sometimes they even buy them houses and all of those things. But the reality is you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. You only know what's on the surface. You don't know what's happening behind the scenes. But even then still, just because other people get to do it and they get cars and houses and whatever it is that they get does not necessarily mean that you will be able to do that and get away with it in the same way as well. Majority of the time, as a child of God, as a child of true creator, you'll find yourself doing such things and reaping severe consequences for it. So do not. And these men will pressurize you, they plead with you, they will, I mean, what they do, in fact, they trick you, isn't it? They create some sense of closeness with you, some sense of emotional connection and bond with you. And then as soon as that bond has been established, then they drop the bomb on you and tell you, oh, you know what, actually I'm married, it's complicated, blah, 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 blah. You are trapped in that situation. Run for your life. Run for your life because what are you looking for? You are looking for a partner, someone who is going to be able to be exclusive to you, someone who's available to you, someone who loves you, someone who's able to be committed to you, someone who's able to show you off. You understand? Someone who's proud to have you in his life. That's what you are looking for. Someone for the long haul. You're not looking for someone who's, just playing around or doing whatever it is that they're doing. And also, even if maybe at that point in time, you're not really looking for a commitment, but you want to play safe. You want to say, just in case I find myself in a situation where, I catch feelings, I do not want to catch feelings for someone that belongs to someone else. You understand? So with a married man, it's a dead end relationship because you'll always be a side thing. And that just creates so much just nastiness in your, energetic records. You don't want that. You really don't. You want something that is yours, something that is clean, at least as far as possible. And the married man is nothing clean. Married man is other people's things. So let's have a look here. And the thing about a married man as well, just before I move to the next point, is they'll never prioritize you. Do you understand that? You'll always have this thing. And sometimes the wife phones. Sometimes he has all these things that he needs to do for his wife. You are always in competition with the wife. No. If you have a heart, you know very well that that's not the place or position that you want to be in at all. And once again, he could be in a committed relationship instead of it being marriage per se. But whatever it is, as long as there's someone else there, just cut your losses, move away, walk away. If you've caught feelings, just heal from them. And just look for something that is going to be yours. you know Number 6, the always something guy. Yeah, this is the guy that there's always something with him. Like this person, it's like you and them, it feels like a soulmate kind of a connection, right? And this one, I actually got it from Helena Hart. She's a dating coach, here on YouTube, in fact. So this guy, it's like you'll feel like it's a soulmate because everything about him is like it clicks. You and him get along very well. There's good chemistry. Everything about him seems to be right on paper, and yet like it just doesn't come together the way that it's supposed to come together. This whole thing, he just can't seem to prioritize you also, but he's apparently single and available. But there's just something about him. There's just something about him whereby it's almost as if he's also emotionally unavailable. That's what you are dealing with. So this kind of a man is someone that you definitely want to avoid, because you will always find yourself feeling like, instead of feeling that stability, that safety, because that's the feeling that you are looking for. You understand? That's your cue. Your cue on whether you should stay in a relationship or whether you should go is that feeling, that sense that you are getting from it. Am I feeling like this is safe? Am I feeling like I can sleep in this situation? It's almost, a relationship is like you are on a swing, right? And the man is busy pushing you, it's pushing you. And it's like, oh, can I fall asleep on this swing under this orange tree or under this big oak tree? Can I fall asleep as this man is pushing me as I'm swinging here? Or do I feel like he's busy yanking me, all over the place? And do I feel like, somehow this swing itself is not even secure, and one of the ropes might actually break and I might fall? Those kind of things. That's what you are looking for. Are you feeling stable? Are you feeling covered? Are you feeling safe? Or are you feeling anxious? Are you feeling confused? Are you feeling uncertain in the relationship? Those are the things that you are wanting to compare. You understand? Those are your clues. Everything else, whether he's a narcissist or not, it's like that you don't even have to go that far. You look for, and it doesn't have to be that thing of, oh, for the first 5 minutes, that's how it feels. No, it has to feel like this for a prolonged period of time. That's what you need to test. And that's the test that many of us fail. I have to be honest here. I'm raising my own hand as well. That's the test that many of us fail. We find ourselves within the first 5 minutes. They know how to make you feel safe and secure for that first 5 minutes. But very quickly you realize, but by the time you realize it, you've already gone into the relationship. You realize that, oh my gosh, this person actually, no, this swing, he's not, just pushing it nicely and gently under this wonderful oak tree, and I feel safe. I feel like I can fall asleep. Oh, feel that breeze even moving. No, it feels like this person is just, you realize, oh my word, this person was just pushing this swing nicely for the first 5 minutes. But as soon as I started feeling like, oh, okay, this could feel good, then this person starts yanking the swing around, spinning it, trying to even cut the ropes himself, threatening me with making the swing fall. Now sometimes he's not even pushing me anymore. He's gotten someone else to push, like it's a disaster. Or now he's busy pushing other swings and he's left my swing. You understand? So it's important to make sure that when you are, feeling out this stability, this solidity in a relationship, with regards to the man. You are testing it out over a prolonged period of time. You give it 3 to 6 months. We usually go for a few days, like, oh, he's been consistent for a few days. So that means, okay, I should go ahead and do this thing. Oh, it feels so good. I don't know what is it that these people, that's how you know this is a spiritual thing. That's how you know that it's spiritual because you beside your own better judgment very quickly you just go ahead and fall for the lies, for whatever it is that is happening there, instead of allowing time to test and prove the reality of the situation. Okay, but the always something guy will always be too busy. There'll always be something going. You'll never feel safe. You'll never feel settled. You'll never feel stable. You'll always feel confused. You'll always feel like you are on edge. Always feel like you need to ask him, what are we? Even though you know what you are, but it will feel like you are in a relationship, but you are not really in a relationship. That's how it's going to feel like. All right. I feel like there's something that I still needed to say about the married men, but if it comes up, I'll go back to it. Number 7, the Speedy Gonzalez guy. Okay, Speedy Gonzalez. I had to call him the Speedy Gonzalez guy, but this guy is the love bomber. He's the one that you know goes into the relationship fast, comes running passionately, everything. You know, and it's those situations. Once again, if you can see, you are still dealing with a narcissist majority of the time, because the guy that wants to jump into a relationship with you very quickly and he doesn't know you, and these people are very good with manipulation. They'll tell you, oh, you are too old for those things of we have to get to know each other. That's manipulation. That's them just playing some mind tricks on you, and they will press your buttons. You'll find yourself feeling like you are silly because just the other day, yesterday I was watching something on TikTok. Yes, the guy says, if you are still telling me about let's get to know each other, that means you are an old stupid hack, kind of a thing. We are too old for that thing. We're supposed to just go ahead and do this thing. If you're giving me your number, then that means you are also interested. So let's just go ahead. When I call you, I'm going to call you baby and everything. And I'm like, that's definitely a huge red flag right there. So automatically by you giving this person your number, you are already in a relationship. And so basically this stranger that you don't know has now become a significant part of your life, basically. But this is what we have been doing, and this is how typically a lot of toxic people operate. They do not want to give you the opportunity, and they are very, very good at manipulation. As I say, they will make you feel stupid for doing the right thing, just like they will also make you feel very, very bad, like you are a bad person for doing something right, for asserting your boundaries. You understand? So you do not want to fall for that. You definitely want to take your time to get to know a person instead of just falling into a relationship very quickly, into it very quickly, because that will always, like, majority of the time, it's rare. There are exceptions to the rule, but they are very rare. Majority of the time, if you jump into a relationship very quickly, it ends up becoming something that is very regretful. You understand? You have to get to know this person and see if really you are compatible or not. But the Speedy Gonzalez guy, usually it's because they're either in for the hanky panky, of course, or they know that, typically if you got to know them, you would never want to be with them. You understand? And so they deprive you of that opportunity to really get to know them. That's why they want to jump into the relationship, so that by the time you realize what you are dealing with, you are already in it, and it's hard for you to get out because you've invested in it. And they love that. They definitely love it. It's like they love that moment. It's almost as if they live for that moment where they drop their mask and it's like, aha, this is me now. And guess what? You are here. And I know that you women are emotional. Once we sleep with you, that means you will never let us go because you've built a bond with us. And so you're not going anywhere. And this is who I am now. Look at me. I'm the monster. Okay. So deal with it. That's typically how these people would be operating. So do not accept, do not allow them to overstep your time boundaries in that regard. Keep them at arm's length, keep them at a safe distance. And if they have a problem with it, it's fine. Let them disappear. Let them go back to whatever cave that they came from. but you continue with people that are able to respect your boundaries in that regard. All right. So don't fall for the manipulation. Right. Number 8, the high risk career guy. Okay, so I can see here that I've got a whole lot of points here that I'm not going to be able to finish them tonight. So because in 15 minutes time at least I want to be done. So I didn't realize that this was going to be something that takes so long. So I'll have to finish this another time, maybe sometime during the week or whenever. So number 8, the high risk guy, the high risk career guy. Okay, so this is that person who works, those type of jobs that makes him a high risk person in terms of a relationship. Is the kind of person that it's like, this person, if they are in this type of career, this is not the kind of person that I definitely like. This is not the kind of person that I would want to be in a relationship with, basically. So if this person, like, for example, let me see. um there are some careers you just know. For example, if your partner is a celebrity kind of a thing, it's like the chances of that person being very stable and safe in a relationship context is highly unlikely. You understand? Because most celebrities are very narcissistic. They love attention, they love, women, they love a certain type of a lifestyle. You understand? So that's a high risk type of career. And it's like when a person is in that kind of a career, it's like, you probably want to avoid that kind of, like, I mean, there has to be a whole lot of proof that this person is a safe, stable human being for you to be with before you want to even give them a chance. You understand? And I'm not bashing every celebrity, but yeah, you get my point. So so there are a lot of careers, even um, professions such as doctors as well. The kind of professions where the men, spends a lot of time away from home, but wherever it is that they're spending their time, they're spending it with a lot of women. That can be a bit of a high risk. And then another one is this one where, the one that's always traveling, the one that's always on the road, hardly at home, spends a lot of time away from home. Like literally, instead of like maybe them arriving home at 10 p.m. at night, no, this person comes home maybe only twice a month or something like that. They live wherever it is that they live. Those are also those type of careers where, or situations where that's a very high risk type of a situation. The guy who's tracking, who's always on the road. There's a lot of stories about truckers, drivers, people who drive. Actually people who drive, they are high risk type of people. People who travel a lot, they are high risk in terms of relationships. So yeah, those type of people is like, yeah, you want to be wary of them. Those are the people where you want to exercise a whole lot of caution when it comes to dating them. You definitely want a whole lot of proof that this is a safe person for me to be in a relationship with, before you even proceed with it, because such kind of people, it's almost always guaranteed that they've got a plethora of women that they are sleeping with, that they are messing with, and all of that. Number 9, the immature man, the one who's impulsive, the one who lacks planning, the one who just goes along with whatever, the one who they'll say, I fly by the seat of my pants or something along those lines. That's what they will be saying. So this person is old, they are the right age, but psychologically they are still, you know juvenile. They are still, this person has no plan. And I've come across such kind of men in my lifetime, where it's like this person doesn't seem to really know what exactly is it, like, where is he going, what's going on with him. This person is just living. This person is a child. To a certain extent, sometimes it would even feel like such kind of people, it's almost as if they come into your life as a woman to become babies, adult babies, and you are the one that's sort of like supposed to carry them. And that definitely will never work in a relationship. All right. So a person who is just impulsive and just going, spending their money frivolously, basically they're not really trying to build anything. They're just living, they're just existing, they're just enjoying themselves. no, that person is not ideal for a relationship, because that's another thing that's going to stress you, that's going to frustrate you, and yeah, it's going to make you very unhappy. You're not going to feel safe, you're not going to feel stable, you're not going to feel contained, solid. You're just going to feel very, very uncomfortable and very anxious. This person will age you. Okay, so definitely, yeah, avoid this. This person is always, it's you that has to make plans, it's you that has to. And if they do anything, they always do some of the most immature and childish things that it's like you regret ever giving them any responsibility for anything, because yeah, they always end up flunking it really bad. So definitely no to the immature men. And of course, the immature men, the way they handle things, everything like conflict resolution, everything is approached from a perspective of a child instead of the perspective of someone that you would want to really build anything solid with. All right. So number 10, the angry guy. The angry guy can come in two forms. He can sometimes be very overtly angry, sometimes he can be very covertly angry. You understand? And so the overtly angry guy, you can see because he's outright just quite brute, quite brazen, very aggressive in his approach. But then the covertly aggressive guy is the one that plays Mr. Nice. He comes across as, oh, he's such a nice guy, such a sweet guy. He'll never harm a fly, but he will always do certain things that will show that this person is actually retaliating. This person is actually angry. This person is actually quite mean spirited, but they are just never going to, show their true intentions and their true feelings, because they don't want to be seen as the angry guy. So basically, this is the guy who's angry but hides the fact that they are angry and displays the anger in a passive aggressive way. They might show it by their nasty little, comments that they make, or jokes, just mean comments disguised, or what you call this, they're basically poking fun at you but disguising it as a joke. Or I don't know how to put this. I know that there's a way to put it that for some funny reason it's just disappearing here. But yeah. So, but this person will literally be berating you but disguising it as a joke. Basically, that's what I was trying to say. So both these guys, it doesn't matter. And how do you test the person? Um, this person's temperament. I don't recommend it, but one of the ways to see and to know that this is a person that has anger issues, you know, put them behind the wheel, let them drive, go for a drive with this person. I don't recommend it, but I'm just saying it that that's the way that you find out. I would say do something else or find out or maybe ask or something like that. Sometimes you don't even have to be behind the wheel, in a car with them. You could ask them about their experiences in driving, or you could even, see how they respond to other drivers on the road, even if you are not on the road yourself, but maybe there are cars passing, you are outside, wherever, you understand. And then just, test and find out. Usually, people with anger issues are road ragers. They just get angry at anything and everything. They always fight for right of way on the road. Um, they, I don't know. There's just something about a person who is the angry guy. There's just something about them and the road that just spells disaster. You understand? Many a times they even drive too fast. Um, but even if they don't, as long as this person has anger issues, you will see it on the road, because he'll just get inflamed and infuriated by every single thing on the road. The slightest thing that the person does on the road, they'll just be fuming about it. This is passive aggression many a times, because they'll really be angry about something else. But on the road is when they really get to show their true feelings about whatever it is that they're angry about. All right. So now let's look at number 11. So why you don't want to be with the angry guy? The angry guy is not safe. The angry guy might even end up becoming physically abusive towards you. And, that anger that they are spewing towards other people on the road, other road users, eventually it's going to come to you. Okay. If it hasn't already done so, it will sooner or later. The angry guy will definitely attack you. Okay. So stay away from the angry guy. All right, because that means he has unhealed issues. This person is highly unconscious. They lack self-awareness. There are many issues with this person, so stay away from them. Number 11, the rebound guy. Okay, so this is someone who has just recently broken up and they decided to jump into another relationship before taking time out for themselves to really, make sure that they are ready to go into another relation. No, this one doesn't want to wait, until that moment occurs. They just want to jump into another relationship. Such a person, you want to avoid them because chances are they are still in love with the previous person. And even if they are not in love with them, they still have hang-ups. So, and whatever it is that you think they feel for you, chances are it's not real, it's not solid, it's not legitimate. Majority of the time, when a person is on a rebound, they're really looking for a way to forget about the past. And once they feel better, you might find that this person, is not even interested in you because they might just be seeing you as that phase in their life that was just for them to be able to move past what they needed to move past. But when it comes to a real relationship, you might find that they don't really see you that way. You understand? And so do not find yourself as collateral damage in a person's journey of healing or whatever it is that you want to call it. All right. So, number 12, the guy who doesn't want a relationship and even says it. You understand? So, this person is making it clear I'm not looking for a relationship. So, leave them alone. Don't try and say, oh no, I can convince him. Oh no, I can, I know, even if, somewhere, somehow you spoke to a psychic and they told you that this is your soulmate, as long as this person is outright saying it, I don't want a relationship. Don't try and force things, please. Don't try, even if this person says, I don't want a relationship, but they act like they want a relationship. Those people, emotionally avoidant people sometimes even do that as well. They'll tell you I don't want a relationship, but they will act like they want a relationship. They'll do everything with you that has to do with a relationship, and yet they'll still say I don't want a relationship. This person is going to waste your time. Do not play in that space. Leave this person alone. Walk away, move on to something else. All right, go and find someone who is looking for it. Let it be that when a relationship fails, let it fail because you have tried and giving it your best shot, and somewhere, somehow, things didn't work out, rather than you putting yourself in a situation where already, the whole thing has, like, you've been set up for failure. You understand? So this person will stay with you for 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. The one who says I don't want to be in a relationship, they will enjoy whatever benefits that you are willing to offer them, but they will never give you that commitment that you want. And then one day when you decide that you've had enough and you start asking them, how can you put me through this? They'll tell you, I said I don't want a relationship. You are the one that insisted on this thing happening. You understand? So do not put yourself in that situation. All right. So number 13, we're going to do just 15 and then we're going to be done for today with this one. And I think I'm going to come back a little bit later. And then when I come back, we're going to talk about the LGBTQ situation out here in the world, the spiritual, emotional, and a whole lot of things that has to do with it. And then I'm going to try and come back for that. So now let's talk about number 13, the guy who's not sure what he wants from you. Okay. So these are things that people are experiencing and dealing with out here in the world. Okay. That's why we are addressing this. So this guy is not sure what he wants. He's still trying to figure things out. You know, he's just not sure. Like he's literally, it's like initially, once again, he's flirting, his energy is coming towards you, he's doing all of these things. but he never said anything. Maybe you hang out with this person and he compliments you, and he makes you feel good, and maybe even you went all the way, you end up sleeping together and everything. And then at some point you can see that time is moving past. Maybe it's a month or so, you guys have been hanging out and doing things together, and maybe even call each other baby or whatever, or my boo. But it's like he's never told you that he loves you, and he never said anything about any relationship or anything like that, so you don't really know what's going on here. But this thing seems to be happening, there's something that seems to be going on, and you don't know what it is. And then you ask him, what are we? And then the person is like, I'm not sure, I'm still trying to figure out, I'm still trying to find out, blah blah blah. Stay away from that person as soon as someone starts saying such kind of things to you. And honestly, I really would not recommend that we end up taking things to the second base or whatever base, third base or whatever. I wouldn't recommend that we do that with someone who has not made their intentions about us clear. But I'm not going to judge you if you find yourself, or if you found yourself in that situation, because I know these things can be very tricky. And also, let's face it, sometimes even if a person tells you all of those things, he can still come back after a month or so and start acting like he doesn't really know where he stands and everything, because we've seen it. I've seen it in this world. People are very, very mean. People are very horrible. Men do horrible things to women, and that's why I find it quite surprising. And I know women do horrible things to men as well. But here, because we're talking about men, and majority of the people that really, complain about their plight with regards to relationships are women. So these are the things that I have witnessed here. Okay, so the person who, as soon as the person makes it clear that they don't know where they stand with you, they're trying to figure things out. Please, even if they say, oh no, give me time, I need a little bit of time to figure things out, and don't bother. Just tell the person, no, you know what, don't worry. You don't have to worry about all of that. You don't have to stress. Let's just end the whole thing. I will go and figure myself out, and you'll go figure yourself out, and then don't even try and be busy trying to negotiate, trying to tell this person, oh, but we slept together, oh, but we didn't. No, don't bother. Just move on with your life. Move on. Just close that door. If there's pain, if there's heartbreak, anything like heal, but then move on. Go find someone else who's going to know exactly what is it that they're looking for, and they're going to be able to prove it over time, with both their words and actions. Maybe the guy who fails to keep his promises. And let me just quickly go back to number 13, with regards to this guy who doesn't know what he wants. So this person, usually, that's how they'll always be. If you stick around, that's why I'm saying walk away from them, because if you stick around, that's how they will always be. They'll always be that type of a person. You understand? They'll always be the person that, every time whatever it is that happens, they'll start, acting unsure, or being like, no, the thing is, with men, how the relationship starts, usually that's how it continues all the way. If the relationship starts on deception, usually that's how it's going to be all the way throughout, its duration. You understand? You'll always be dealing with deception in the relationship. If the person, is unsure in the beginning, that's what you'll always be dealing with all the way. You understand? The person will always have those bouts, those phases where he's not sure where he stands with you. He's not sure whether he wants. You'll be married to the person, and yet they'll be acting like, no, I don't know anymore. I don't know what I want. Give me time, and then he needs to go away for 3 weeks or whatever, so that he can figure himself out. You don't want to be dealing with that. 3 years into the marriage, 4 years, 10 years into the marriage, 20 years into the person is still trying to figure himself out from time to time. Nope, you don't want that. So that's why you cut it short, you chop it up from the get-go. Okay, so number 14, the guy who fails to keep his promises. Okay, so this person is the one that comes with a whole lot of big promises, if builds future fake, they say he's future faking, builds castles in the air, promises you the moon, the sky, and everything, the train and the railway station, then this person has a whole usually people who fail to keep promises are the ones that actually make big promises. They will promise you, I'm gonna take you and to meet so and so, I'm gonna do this and this and that. Promise these people like nobody's business. But when it comes to delivery, there's always some kind of an excuse, and they hardly take any responsibility. They hardly acknowledge the fact that they haven't delivered. You'll just keep waiting. You understand? And then you'll be wondering, doesn't this person realize that they made this promise? Have they sometimes you might even remind them that, oh, but you promised that you're gonna do this and this. Pardon me. Let me just drink some water and then we'll be closing now. So yeah, this person, but they never deliver. And usually it's because they have no intention of delivering. The reason why they're making the promises is because they want something from you at that moment. You understand? They want your attention at that moment. They want your love and affection. They want maybe to sleep with you at that moment. Whatever it is that they are wanting from, sometimes they might even be wanting money. Okay, so we we had some problem. Okay, so we had some problem with connection just now. So yeah, I'm just going to quickly wrap up so that we can close. So usually there's something that they are wanting from you, and you don't know, but they know that they want something from you, and they're making those promises so that you can give them those whatever it is that they want in exchange for whatever. It's almost as if this person, there's another spiritual crime that this person is committing against you. And this kind of people that commit all of these things that I've mentioned here, in this particular episode, honestly, this the kind of conduct that this kind of people carry out brings about with it curses, spiritually. It doesn't matter whether this is a real human being or a false human being, but the reality is that there are some things that you do that will definitely bring negative energy, bad luck into your life. From a spiritual perspective, there are always consequences. You understand? So this person is literally stealing from you, and they are deceiving you, promising you things that they know they're never going to give you, just so that you can give them something now that they want now. You understand? So stay away from such people. If a person makes promises to you, especially in the beginning of the dating phase, at least 3 promises and they fail to keep them, leave them alone. Just walk away from them, leave them, because yeah, you're going to be getting more of that. Basically your relationship is going to be based on false promises, and you will stick around with the hope that to see if this person actually finally ever gets to deliver, but they'll hardly ever deliver. And if they ever do deliver, it's usually like a very, very, very poor version of whatever it is that they promised. It's usually something where you like, you know what, this person should have never actually even given me this thing or done this thing that or they should have never promised in the first place, and we should have never even bothered trying to do this thing, whatever it is that they would have promised, because it's that bad. You understand? So people who fail to keep promises is majority of the time is because they had never intended to do so in the first place. So leave them alone. Leave the guy who fails to keep promises alone. Lastly, number 15, and then we'll do the other 15 next time, not today. So we are closing now with this one, number 15, the liar. Okay. The lie. This is the man who lies. Oh, this man. People can lie out here in the world. Yeah. And men do so quite a lot. Some of them, for example, they tell you, I'm single, then you find out he's in a relationship. Leave him alone. Okay. It doesn't matter what his excuse is, doesn't matter. Some of them even will deny the fact that they are lying. You'll catch them out, they'll still deny the fact that they are lying. Stay away from them. So a man will say that yeah, he's going somewhere, to work, on a business trip, only to find out that he's actually gone to visit his other girlfriend. Men will say, it's you are the only person, you are exclusive with him, only to find out that you are on rotation with three other women. you know Men lie, you understand. Men lie about anything and everything. So if you catch a person lying outright about a lot of things, particularly things in generally, if you find that this person is really lying in a relationship with you, for example, they might lie about their age, they might lie about certain aspects of their life, where they are, what are their circumstances, what job is it that they are doing, their financial statuses. Sometimes they don't even just outright lie with you. For example, they might tell you that for example, that maybe you might not be interested in someone that that does not have a certain, or is not in a particular um income bracket, maybe, if we should put it that way. I know can come across as a bit horrible, but then sometimes you want to be with someone that is at least going to be able to fulfill a certain role in your life. You understand, someone that you wouldn't have to carry. You understand. So, and then this person knows that they've got nothing to offer you, but then they, when they present themselves to you, they present themselves as someone that actually has a whole lot of things to offer. Like, for example, this person knows that they are working piece jobs. Like, literally, they they can't even afford a place to stay. They are staying at their mama's house until they get their next big break with their next rich girlfriend. So this person now, um he's presenting himself as a business person, and he's hiding the fact that he's actually living at his mama's house. He is even presenting his, when he comes to you, he's holding a car key, and the car key is not even his. The car is not even his. It's his friend's car. He's actually sitting on the passenger side of his best friend's drive, as TLC said, in illusion. So he's lying to you without saying anything. He's creating the illusion that he's this person. Meanwhile, he's not even a business person. He is probably, helping out from time to time his cousin at his business, because he himself has nothing. He's not working. You understand? So those kind of things, when you find out, as soon as you pick up that, oh, this person lied to you about such things, run, leave the person alone, because yeah, firstly, he shouldn't even be in the business of being in a relationship in that position. That man is dangerous if he tries to be in a relationship and he knows that that's how his situation is. Number two, the mere fact that he's even lying instead of being honest with you says a whole lot about what you are dealing with. You understand? So you are dealing with a manipulator, you are dealing with a schemer, you are probably dealing with a love scammer as well. Right. So now let's leave this as where it is now. So thank you so much for spending time with me. Until later, it's good night. It's goodbye. We'll see each other later.